Beatrice, to Stephanie, Nicholas, Marina, Alexandra, and Garrett, and certainly to his parents, Rita and Paul. Our hearts and our concern are very much with you in this time of your loss, time of your sadness. And however we can walk together through the coming days, we are all here to do that with you. It occurred to me that we've come together many times for happy occasions with the Vornle family. For me, most recently in the past year, for Stephanie's wedding with Bobby. For Garrick's Eagle ceremony, not too long ago. And judging from that marvelous display of photographs and videos at the Harding Funeral Home yesterday, there have been countless such happy times that the family and friends have come together. Smiles all around, many happy and memorable occasions. But it occurs to me also that families gather in another way, as we gather here this morning, so that when there are times that are difficult, when there are times that we find ourselves in sadness and shock and disbelief, we come together to console one another as a family, to put our arms around one another, to lift up one another and encourage one another. Somehow it struck me that that really is at the heart of every family life. And it begins on that day when husband and wife, John and Beatrice, for 31 years, on that first day when they said to one another, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do we part. And really that becomes the model for all families. They gather together in good times and in bad, in times of doubt and despair, in times of hope and promise and new beginnings. And it is that coming together that gives us the depth of understanding of what our human relationships can be and should be. We journey through this life together. We come together as another family this morning. First and foremost, a family of Catholic Christian faith, the faith in which John and his family have lived. But no matter what our religious background, we all have a yearning to know, is there something beyond the life we live here? We Catholic Christians hold up the cross and the resurrection of Jesus as the promise of a life that is beyond what we see and know. We come together in our faith to lift up one another, to console one another, to offer a word of hope. We come together in faith to hold John in our hearts and to give God thanks for the many ways in which he has touched all of you here and so many who perhaps are not here this morning. In some ways, I think we have to learn to see our life as a family in a new way. We have to recognize that, as our prayers say so many times over, for us, at the time of death, life is not ended, it is changed. Just as life is changed for us when we are born into this world and come into a place that we have not known and not seen, so too in the life of the Spirit. We go on to a life that is beyond what our senses can tell us here. These two disciples going on the road to Emmaus, it's a story told only by our patron St. Luke. These two going on their way to Emmaus on Easter Sunday afternoon are similarly shocked and bewildered. Things in their life had hardly gone wrong. All their hopes and dreams for this man named Jesus were dashed on Good Friday as he hung on a cross. It seemed that all was failure. And as they made their way home to their hometown of Emmaus, they do what all people do when a death occurs, especially when it comes suddenly or unexpectedly or in an unimaginable sort of way. They tell stories. They reminisce. And in that telling of the story, they find, Luke says, a stranger walking with them. Somebody they did not yet recognize because they had to come to see Jesus in a new way. So too at the time of death, we come to see our families in a different way. Not just as a group of flesh and blood human beings who are here on this earth, but as a family that extends beyond the boundaries of our time here. A family that embraces those who have gone before us in faith as they wait to embrace us at the end of our journey here. Our faith tells us that death does not have the last word over us. That God's life, God's mercy, God's goodness is the ultimate for which we long, the ultimate joy for which we yearn. So in giving thanks to God today for John's life, we give thanks to the God who calls us to his life. We give thanks to God who has shown his goodness through John to us, and now encourages us to be that family for one another, to uplift, to embrace, to walk together, supporting one another on the journey of faith. Eventually, these two disciples do come to see Jesus in a new way when they gather around the table where they break bread. And so too do we. May we all be inspired by the goodness and the love and the generosity of the people that we have known in our lives, the people who give us example for what our family living can be, confident that our family will be gathered together again in the peace and joy of God's kingdom. Let us